everyone. This is Dr. T, your favorite legal, business, and real estate strategist. And I am here today with another GW5 conference faculty member, Miss Janera Harvey. And Janera, her expertise, you can just go on to GW5.com, look at the speakers and check out Janera Harvey's repertoire. Okay, she is amazing in her own right. And she's going to be speaking to you as an attendee of GW5 about conquering shopping addiction for financial freedom. Now, there's so many different types of addictions out there, but some of the things that we as women need to kind of hone in is that shopping addiction. And that's what Janera has built her expertise on as a money coach. Okay, so without further ado, Miss Janera, I'm not gonna hold you up long, but can you talk to them? I know shopping addiction can affect both personal and financial well-being. So how can attendees identify if they're actually struggling with this issue, and what steps can they take to help them overcome it or conquer it?
Right. Well, thank you for having me first. I'm so excited. But yes, when it comes to shopping addiction, a few things that a person wants to look at is, one is they are shopping, seeking excitement, that euphoric feeling that you get when you're shopping. We all like to shop, but it's just like a high, like if somebody was on a chemical substance and they get that high, that feeling that they get. A lot of shoppers seek that out. Another way to determine whether or not you have that problem, if you're hiding purchases and you're lying to your family about your purchases. Huge, 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 huge. Another way to identify that is also if you are making a lot of credit card purchases, and you know for a fact that if you had the cash, you would not make that purchase with the cash, you might want to kind of look at, okay, what's going on here with my spending habit. Also, if you're out here just trying to keep up with the image because you want to be acknowledged in some form or fashion, whether you're purchasing high-ticketed items and it's a consistent thing that's going on with you, that is, some of the red flags that stand out to me when I listen to clients who come in saying that they're struggling with their shopping addiction. Now, if you have someone who's not sure, or they say, well, I think I do, not sure, but how do I find out? Who do I speak to about this? One, you want to first acknowledge the fact that there is a problem going on. Because if you're not going to acknowledge it, you're not going to even get to the next step to see whether or not you need the help that you need. One, you also need to admit that there is a problem. Once you can admit to yourself and be honest with yourself, you're going to be honest with the person who's working with you if you decide to move forward and work with somebody. And then 3, you want to seek out the person that can help you. So there's so many different coaches, specialists, therapists, clinicians out here who do work with clients who struggle with shopping addiction. But there's different roads or paths you can go down with this treatment. So you got psychiatrists, so to speak. They might work on the depression part of it, the anxiety part of it. Some people with shopping addiction may have OCD, they may have ADHD, and that clinician might just focus on that and not touch the shopping addiction. And then you might have somebody who will say, okay, we can work on the behavior, but then they want to talk about the money part of it, because there is an impact to the finances with shopping addiction. So when you're researching who's the right fit for you, you got to go through those steps and make sure that you get with a person who's going to actually meet all of your needs. Because if you're going to be hopping from one person to the next person, could get frustrated, overwhelmed, and it could be a setback for the individual. Not everybody, but for some people, they get discouraged and they don't want to do it. So I always say, do your homework and make sure that you get in front of the right person who's going to help you and have the support. I can't stress it enough to my clients. I always tell them, get the support, not just from me as your coach if you're utilizing my services, but make sure you have that go-to person in your family or your friend who's going to help you, because it's tough. It's not an easy addiction to overcome. It can be done, but you need the extra support, because there's moments where you have triggers and you're going to want to, probably excessively spend money when you shouldn't be spending money. So it's good to have that support and somebody that's not going to judge you. Because
and that's the biggest thing. That judgment is where a lot of people, I find, struggle with any type of addiction, right? Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily have a shopping addiction, but I definitely have a Haagen-Dazs addiction. Addiction is addiction, okay? Just when I think that I'm going to kick it and I'm going to go on this diet, and then something might hear me talk about, you need this ice cream right quick, right. and get that fix. And a high is a high, whatever that is, right? So I just want everybody to understand that whatever your vice is, we do need to seek help. Yes. Professional help, from that, and I'm not joking about, my willpower and my addiction, because I do believe that there's just certain things that I get a sugar rush, and I try to kick it, and I'm working on it, but I got to work on that. So finances is no different. So I thank you so much for really just shedding light, because some people, we hear about it, but we don't really understand it. And to have you really talk about that at GW5 is really important, especially, going into my next question, is because I know that, financial habits, the habits play a significant role in any form of business success. Mm-hmm. So would you kind of like discuss a link between overcoming shopping addiction and achieving your entrepreneurial goals? Mm-hmm. There's a link.
Yeah, there's definitely a link. And I will say this, I'm gonna look at what a client might look like prior to overcoming the shopping addiction, so you have a better understanding how it can look good on the other side. Once you get to the other side and overcome it. People with shopping addiction have, they're all over the place with their money. They're spending, it controls them. So they have a tendency to lose a sense of self, because it's this addiction that's running them versus them running it, which is why they have the addiction, right? And because of that, they're not thinking about what they're doing. They're just getting up and doing it. And then they feel guilty later, or ashamed or embarrassed later after the fact, right? So one of the things that I work with my clients is mindfulness. Mindfulness is so huge, because once you get that mental clarity and you be honest with yourself and recognize what's going on around you, however way you do it, whether you don't do it or not, there's going to be that link to what's come next, especially as an entrepreneur. So a lot of times we do simple, small techniques, we're working with a client and when it comes to mindfulness. So one of the things I like to ask my clients is, when you go shopping, instead of just saying, oh, I want to get that, or I'm just going to do it because it's on sale, or whatever the reason may be, step back and say, what will happen if I made the purchase? Okay, that's huge. And that's mindfulness, because now you got to be mindful about what you're about to do. What will happen if I don't make the purchase? That's huge. Then the third question is, what will be the outcome from either one of those the first two questions? That type of exercise, when practiced and put into practice daily and regularly, will make the individual more conscientious, not just about their spending, but their behaviors when it's attached to the spending, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're more conscious and you're being more mindful and having that mental clarity, that's going to spill over to your entrepreneurial life. Because trust me, if you're not clear about what you're going to do in your entrepreneurial life, you're going to be making some reckless decisions, and you're going to see yourself spiraling downhill when you should be going uphill in your success, right? So the link is, once we can get that mind right, the mindset, practicing mindfulness activities, is going to spill over, and you're going to be clear, you're going to be intentional, and it's going to be very you're going to be very direct with your vision, and this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it. But because when you're struggling with the addiction, you don't think that way. You don't know, it's kind of like you lose a part of self. So you don't know to think that way anymore. So it's almost like you got to regroup and retrain your brain to go back into that way of thinking and doing. And when you do that, you're going to be successful, not just in the addiction, but also in your business.
And when you mention about that link, because as I'm thinking, as I'm coaching people from a financial standpoint, right, when we're talking about business, whether it's business credit, whatever the case may be, a lot of times, we still have to worry about overspending in the business.
Yes.
Right? Because a lot of times that can kind of translate into a shopping addiction. Because for me, I know that, automation is the big key. Right. So a lot of times people I'm going to buy it because it's going to make my life easier. However, if you took the time to ask those questions, what's going to happen if I buy it? What's going to happen if I don't buy it? Right. And what is the outcome for both? Right. And just take that whole mental, step. That kind of would help people from a business standpoint and not buying things in the business for the sake of automation, even though you can't afford it and you don't know how to implement it.
That's right.
So that shopping addiction is not just going out buying bags, right? It's also, can translate there. So when you mentioned that, that's what came to mind, there. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And I must say this, if you don't mind, because made me think about this. That step is crucial because there's so many behaviors that arise in shopping addiction that so many people are unaware of. And one of them, it might shock you, it may not. But one of them is shoplifting and stealing. So when you having a shopping addiction, you're so fixated on the addiction and the extra money or more money to have, you would do anything to feed the addiction, including steal from yourself, steal from your business. You see where I'm going with that? So if you don't have that mental clarity, you will, not all the time, but some individuals can go down that rabbit hole and end up stealing from them own selves.
Oh, that's deep. That's absolutely deep. Anything to feed that high, wow.
Think about it. Think about you. If a person was on a substance abuse and a chemical substance, and they wanted to feed that high. What do? They steal.
Yep.
They sell stuff. They would do anything they can to feed that addiction. And it's the same way with shopping addiction. And imagine you running your business, it's thriving, you doing your thing, you going to the level, and the money start coming in, and you like, oh, that look good. And next thing you know, you take first time it's like, maybe I just take $100 here. Then you see what I mean? And now it's really impacting your business, and now you're not reaching those goals like you thought you could, because now you're not only messing up with your personal finances, now you're tampering with the business finances.
Wow. That's oh my goodness. I can't wait for the audience to hear, the attendees to really hear how to, because they probably know somebody, in their families, friends, who, now you have laid out some of the signs and, things, how you can kind of identify it, they might know someone in their inner circle who may be struggling with this, and those people need to be at GW5, to hear this conversation. But with that, your talk, promises strategies for conquering this challenge, right? So could you provide a glimpse into one technique that an attendee will find enlightening if they attend your session at GW5?
What they will find enlightening is that their shopping addiction, people just think shopping addiction, right? So I'm gonna ask you this question. When you think of shopping addiction, do you think there's different types of shopping addiction?
I would think so.
You would think so? You know how many people that think it's not different types? They just think shopping addiction is just shopping addiction. So learning the different types is huge, because you can go get help about the problem, but not understand the type of shopping addiction that you have. Right. So I'll give you an example. You have compulsive shoppers. These are people who go shop because they can't deal with the things that they battling with themselves, and it's uncomfortable. So what they do is they go shop for comfort. Okay, so you got that one, and I mentioned one earlier. The image. People will buy fancy things just to draw attention to them, to feel important, to look wealthy. We talk about that, about being wealthy, but you want to look the part, knowing that you're not really the part. You just excessively spending your money to finance an image that's not real. So now you're being fake. And then you have the bulimic shopper. A lot of people don't know about the bulimic shopper. The bulimic shopper, once I say it, you're going to say, oh my God. People who love the process of shopping, they will shop with no intention to use it. The intention is just to buy because they thrive off the process. And then they say well, I could always return it. How many times have you heard people say, I could always return it? Yes. That is your bulimic shopper.
Really?
So there's so many types of shopping addiction. People are so unaware of it, and just knowing where you are in that, and that helps me too when I identify that, or if when I'm sharing with others how I work with you, because I'm going to work with a bulimic shopper different than somebody who's the compulsive shopper, because that's straight or emotional. They don't know how to deal with the emotional. And then you got the bulimic where it could be, oh my God, they just shopping for the thrill of that, or whatever. It's like, so what's really going on? Were you deprived? You know what I mean? Growing up, did something happen? You said, oh, when I get old enough, I'm going to be able to make the money. I can just buy what I want. You don't have the intentions of using it. You just know that you can buy it. And you're just going to take it back. I'll just return it.
I have a question. Because as you're talking, I'm okay. So where would someone who is gonna buy it just because it's on sale, like the sale shopper, like I don't really need it, but because it's on sale, I'm gonna get it. Is that a category?
They have. There are those type of shoppers as well. We call them bargain shoppers.
Okay.
Right.
But we don't think that that's bad when you're a bargain shopper.
You know what that falls. Right. What? You know what that falls under?
What?
Impulsive.
Because you didn't plan it.
Yeah, you think about it, you just do. You buy. Don't need it. Still had the tags on it. People said, girl, I had that for so long. Tags still on it. Yeah. It was an impulse buy because it was on sale. Or because they got to the register, somebody said, you can save money if you apply for the credit card.
Right.
And we already know about those kind of stories.
Right.
But, you'll save X amount of dollars and, oh, that's a deal. That's a bargain. Don't even need it. Or they go back and find something so they can't make the purchase so they can catch the deal. Impulsive.
Wow. That right there, that is definitely some techniques and challenges and things like that, because I this was deep. Because I don't believe I've ever had a conversation around, and I've been in, we're both certified credit counselors. We've both been in this space. We talk to people about finances all the time, but I don't recall ever having any sessions on shopping addiction as it relates to consumer buys, even business, B2B, B2C. Yeah. This is really, I'm really excited that we have this at GW5, because this is a session that, one, intrigues me. Two, I got three people in my head. I'm like, okay, I don't identify some stuff. You definitely got to get a ticket, and so this is really enlightening. But before I let you go, I do, really want you to kind of share, because attendees is going to leave GW5 because it's an implementation session. There is no sales going on at GW5, but they're going to leave with newfound insights. So I just want you to leave anyone who's thinking about attending GW5. I want you to let them know how will your session equip them to make conscious financial choices that align with their business aspirations. That's what I want us to leave, this talk with you today about. Yeah. Can you help us with that?
I think when they leave a new level when it comes to a sense of self, when it comes to not just, okay, I have my money here, but what I do here and my behavior with it and how it impacts my business is either going to be the game changer or the game just ain't going to be aired. How about that?
Right.
The game is aired. Because if you're not walking away with the sense of urgency to be more conscious about how you utilize your funds, it's going to hurt your business. Because as business grows, and sometimes, as you know, we're both business owners, business could sometimes be flat one day and then it spikes. Am I right? And if you hear and you have not had the conscious decision to be more aware of your behaviors and being mindful of how you handle your money, when that spike comes, you're going to be spiking and you're not going to be successful. You might look like it to the outsiders. You will not be successful because you have not made the conscious decision and made a promise to self and a commitment to self that I've got to tighten up on these areas in my behaviors when it comes to my money. Because what I'm doing here, I'm not aware. Remember, I talked about it earlier. If you're not aware of what you're doing and you're just doing it, you're just going to spill over and do it in your business. So that ladder climb to success, yeah, you might look like it, but it's going to be so much harder to reach if you don't make those conscious decisions. And my hope is for when people walk away from the conference, there's a sense of urgency. I'm going to be more in tune, more aware of how I utilize my funds, not just personally, but business. That's what.
I'm telling you. Janera Harvey, oh my goodness. Spending addiction is something that, we really need to talk about, especially if we're dealing with trying to build generational wealth, breaking the chains of generational poverty, one business at a time. This is some important things. Generational wealth, I know people use that as a tag. My company, Generational Wealth Zone, it was formed before this whole thing been so popular. But I do believe that I've been on this mission for over 22 years, really just trying to help people in legal, business, and real estate, kind of guide them to understand how everything plays a part. And having you a part of this conference, Janera, is really special to me. When I asked you to be a part of it, you didn't even hesitate. You just asked me, let me just look at my calendar, and that's one of the things I love about Do It First leaders. You said, I want to be there, to partake and participate and also to lead. And that was really important to me. So I just really wanted to have this glimpse, and have you on GW5 Conference Speakers Edition, just so the audience and the attendees who will be coming to GW5 just hear what I get to hear from you all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this. So is there any last minute things or, last points you would like to leave with the prospective attendees at GW5 this year?
Yes. If you feel like you are struggling with a shopping addiction, do not let embarrassment, fear, shame get in the way of you succeeding as a person and as a business leader. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you so much, Janera. This is our time with GW5 Conference Speaker Edition with Janera Harvey. If you have not yet gotten your tickets, please go over to GW5conference.com. It's not too late. We are going live November 10th through the 12th. If you are a VIP, we have a bonus day on that Thursday the 9th. We have the awards gala, all formal attire required. On Saturday, November 11th, it's going to be paparazzi style. So it's going to be awesome and amazing. So head on to GW5conference.com and we look forward to seeing you in November. Chart, have a good one. Bye-bye now.